So my name is Billy Taylor. I'm 48 years old. I currently live in North Oxfordshire, a place called Witney, with my partner and my son. And I'm skipper on this year's Atlantic Dash Challenge. Okay, so the Brainwaves Challenge was Antigua to Lanzarote last year, and most people probably give up after that. But we were supposed to go and row the Indian Ocean after that, so we shipped the boat from Antigua to Australia, to row from Australia to Kenya. Unfortunately, due to COVID, that was called off. So we delayed it until this year, and then earlier on, about October 2020, the Australian government announced that they were going to be restricting access to Australia until at least late 2021, which meant we would have missed our weather window. So we found ourselves project ready, but without a project to do, essentially. So with the upcoming crisis in mental health off the back of COVID, we decided that as we had all the people around us that we needed to go forward with something successful, we tried to do something to raise awareness of mental health issues. Well, the biggest one was our rudder fell off when we were on the way across to Antigua. So after about 14 days, one of the fabricated parts on the back to hold the rudder on basically snapped. So it meant there was only one point which put us in danger of ripping the transom off. So I guess the biggest learning lesson was to have a better piece fabricated, and we've also put an extra little pinion in, so there's less likelihood of there's no likelihood now of the rudder coming off. Okay, so we got Matt Pritchard, who is a pro skateboarder and endurance athlete. He's also the star of the MTV series 30 Sanchez. We've got Johnny Ward, who's 37. He is a travel blogger. He's Irish. And we've got Martin Hesseltine, who is ex-SAS. He's 62 years old, and he comes from somewhere up north in the UK. With regards to experience, that's a good one. So Martin has actually done about 30,000 sea miles sailing. So he's like an old salty sea dog. So he is familiar with some of the stuff that's on board, but he's done no rowing. Matt is incredibly fit. He's done Decker Ironmen. He's done many triathlons. He's run around the coast of Mallorca. He's done lots and lots of things, basically. So he's exceptionally fit. But he hasn't done, well, he's done a 24-hour row with us, so he hasn't got any rowing or sea-going experience. Johnny, the travel blogger, he's a really fit guy. It wasn't that long ago, he did a 188-kilometer endurance run in Thailand. But he also is, in actual fact, he hadn't even seen the boat until 5 or 6 days ago, so he doesn't have an awful lot of experience out in the water, or none, in fact. But they all bring their own skill sets to the crew. Obviously, Martin, with his sea-going experience, Matt is on board because he can bring awareness to mental health. He's gone through his own mental health journey, and he's happy to talk about that. And Johnny, we're trying to promote adventure as a way to basically improve your self-esteem and connect with nature and mindfulness. And Johnny left Ireland about 14 years ago, went to Thailand to learn to teach people English. And from there on, he went to write a travel blog, and he's now visited every country in the world. He's done 4 of the 7 summits. He's also been to the North Pole. So having him on board, he can talk about that story and basically inspire others to get out there and get traveling. Well, my training regime has actually been pretty good. The other guys have had rowing machines. Johnny was training when he was out in Thailand, like I say, done the endurance, the ultra endurance marathon before that. Matt's always been really fit, has had a rowing machine at home, has got a coach to give him a training program. Martin has got pretty much an outdoor life back home, and has also been he got himself a rowing machine, so they've all been working pretty hard. For me personally, I have done jack. I'm hoping that my muscle memory from last March is when we finished will carry me through, because since then, the only time that I've been into a gym to do any form of exercise would have been when we went to Brookes University in Oxford to go and do some lab work, because we're also doing some collecting research data into the effects of exercise on helping to manage symptoms like anxiety and depression. So my main exercise, or my main training regime, has been carb loading. So basically I'm a big fat porker right now. So this, I've rode the Pacific in 2014, I rode the Indian 2018, and I rode the Atlantic last year. So for me, 45 days at sea, I actually look forward to that. For the other guys, we've just been talking through it all recently. What it's like out there, what they can expect, what the highs will be, what the lows will be. And they've also been reading a lot of books and watching a lot of videos to try and get an understanding. But to be completely honest, until you're out there, you can't possibly know what it's like, which is why it's great going on a boat with these three guys. We get on all really, really well, and it's going to be a shared experience. So you can talk to people and tell them stories, but you can't sort of relive and share those experiences properly unless you can do it with people who've been there with you, which is another reason why we think we've got a really good crew. I think it's different for everyone. For me, personally, I don't know. I don't really know. I really like being out in the water. I mean, challenges for the boat per se would be like shipping containers. They're floating around out there, probably a lot more than you'd realise. So they have very sharp corners that you can run into. Other ships, so we have a lot of tech on board, which enables us to see them and them to see us. But there have been instances of tankers colliding with ocean-bound boats. But as a challenge for myself, I don't know, you lose a lot of weight. So I'm probably going to lose around 14 kilos. And when you get that skinny, you lose a lot of fat off your backside. So it can be extremely uncomfortable sitting down. And obviously you're doing that 12 hours a day to row. So that's probably the biggest challenge. Well, the other crew, otherwise it's going to be a lot more difficult for me to row. Music, 100% music. You have to, for me, music plays a big part in my life, and when it's really rough out there, you can't talk to the person that you're rowing with. So to help pass the time, I've got a whole plethora of tunes that I've downloaded and different stuff for different moods and different sea states that sort of enhances the experience. And you can listen to audiobooks and podcasts as well, so that's really good. I'm gonna have to say Aquapac stuff, because it's really, really important that you keep everything waterproof out there. It doesn't matter what you do, you're gonna get water in the cabins and in the lockers. It's just the way it works. We've only got 45 centimeters of freeboard, so the deck is about this far above the waterline, so everything gets wet. There's a lot of electronics on board, and they need to remain dry. So the music stuff that I was talking about as well, GPSs, trackers, radios, VHF radios. So it would have to be some Aquapac gear to make sure that the stuff that we rely on remains dry and functional. Always going to be friends and family. To be completely honest, they're as much a part of the crew, whether they like it or not. They have to put up with us going through the preparation of it all. So the most difficult thing about this whole project is actually getting to the start line. So raising the money, getting the equipment, having the boat built. So not only do they lose us while we're away on the water, but a lot of our time is taken up with preparing for this as well. So I've already started missing them before I left, just because I couldn't spend a lot of time with them. But aside from that, I don't know, I mean, not a lot really, to be honest. Life's incredibly focused out there on the boat, and it makes you realise what you need to live as opposed to what you want to live with. And as long as you've got some tunes out there as well, friends and family is about the only thing that I do miss when I'm on the water.
Antigua, baby!
Antigua, baby! In this order, I'm going to get myself a shower, because there are no washing facilities on the boat aside from going over the side a couple of times to clean the hull. The only way that we can wash is through wet wipes. So a shower, because you feel minging and you stink, and then it will be a pint of probably Coke with ice and lemon, because there's nothing cold on the boat. Everything's, well, it's just water. All you get to drink is water. So I want something with bubbles in it, and then I'll want a big meal of something that's not rehydrated food. The meals are fine, don't get me wrong, but we take 6,000 calories a day with us, and that's 3 main meals and 2 desserts. We're plant-based on the boat, so we're vegetarians or vegans. So there's no meat on the boat whatsoever. but there's nothing crunchy. There's nothing with any texture. It's all pot noodly type stuff. So yeah, shower, cold drink, probably a beer after the Coke to be fair, and then some really, really good food. But even before that, I think, actually no, scrap that. The first thing I'm going to do is have a shower. The second thing I'm going to do is call back home and sort of reconnect with my family back there.